Good evening again, YouTube friends. And we're going to have a little spoiler discussion on Star Wars The Last Jedi. And I don't care if you haven't seen it. In fact, I prefer you listen to what I have to tell you before you go see it, because I don't care if I spoil it for you. I don't want Disney to make very much money off of this. This is bullshit. You had so many opportunities to save this, and you just looked at Rian Johnson and said, oh, whatever you want. It doesn't matter. This is the second chapter. It doesn't matter. We'll wrap it up in the third one. And it doesn't matter if you don't satisfy the fans. Just throw a wrench in it so we can, make some bullshit ending. The whole point of Star Wars is to be going somewhere. You're telling me now. I just found out that Rian Johnson presented his ideas to the Disney executives about episode 9 and where he wants to take it. And I'm thinking, you're telling me they didn't have this planned out? You're telling me they just been making it up as they go along? What kind of fucking business plan is that? No, really, what kind of business plan is that? With Marvel, it's all been building up to these next 2 Avengers movies. For almost what? 10 years now? And this is just off the seat of your pants? Because you gotta admit, not one fucking question that we had coming out of The Force Awakens was answered in The Last Jedi. Who are Rey's parents? Oh, nobody. That's basically a gotcha. Who is Snoke? Nobody. Gotcha. Is Snoke important? No. Gotcha. Is Rey important? No. Gotcha. It's just a gotcha after gotcha after gotcha. You feel cheated. You feel like I spent my money to come in here and watch this, and then I went and spent money again because I wanted to know, is there something I'm missing here? No, there's nothing I'm missing. It was a big gotcha, which I can forgive if it's entertaining and if it hits me. Was it entertaining? Yeah. Did it hit me? No. It didn't hit me. It took from me everything I loved about Star Wars and said, no, that's not right. Luke Skywalker. Luke fucking Skywalker. We didn't even get a fight out of him. They turned Luke Skywalker into a man who tried to kill his own nephew because he had a bad feeling about this. That is not the Luke Skywalker I know. The Luke Skywalker I know turned back to the Emperor after he had the chance to defeat Darth Vader and become a Jedi. Threw his fucking lightsaber at his feet and said, never. I'll never turn to the dark side. You failed, Your Highness. I am a Jedi, like my father before me. And he faced down death. He was ready to die, believing his father was good. Kylo has a little bit of glints of dark, and Luke can sense it, and he has a bad feeling, so he turns on his lightsaber to kill his own nephew? What's he gonna tell Leia? What's he gonna tell Han? He even says, I was an act of instinct. Jedi are supposed to be masters of their instinct. Certainly he would have thought before acting. And we don't get one, not even one, lightsaber on lightsaber clash in this movie. Not even one glint of them hitting each other in this movie. What are you trying to prove? What are you trying to do? This wasn't a Star Wars movie. This whole movie can be summed up with the first 30 seconds of what Mark Hamill's introduction was. And God bless Mark Hamill. He did a great job in this film. He sold it as Luke Skywalker. I believed in Luke Skywalker. But he summed up this whole movie with what he did after Rey handed him the lightsaber. He looked down at it, looked up, threw it over his shoulder like, piece of shit. You're not gonna like this. Garbage. God help you, Rian Johnson. You have the most avid Star Wars fans praying that George Lucas gets involved in the next episode. Maybe that's what it needs. He consulted on Empire. Maybe that's what this needs. They said, no, we're going to give it to people who are more competent. Well, you give it to people who don't understand Star Wars like the fans do. This movie was interesting. It surprised me. I liked many things about it, except when it came to characters that we were led to believe we should be interested in, such as Rey, such as Snoke, or the raw power of Kylo and the raw power of Rey, which we don't really see in this movie. The only person's raw power we see is Snoke's, and they kill him in a dismissive way, like, oh, you were interested in this guy? Nah, fuck him. He's a nobody, because he's dead now. That whole side plot of Finn and Rose on Canto Bight and DJ and breaking the code on the mega Star Destroyer, it was useless, meaningless, had no driving point to the plot. And I had more hope in Rian Johnson that he knew how to craft a story. I don't know. I didn't direct it or write it. I think he could have directed it. He shouldn't have written it alone, is what I'm saying. He should have collaborated, because this undermines everything about Star Wars. Light speed tracking, that was the getaway. That was the saving grace of Star Wars, is that you could jump to light speed and they couldn't find you for the foreseeable future. Eventually they would, but not right away. When I first watched it, I walked out of the theater, I loved it because it was fresh in my mind. It was a new Star Wars, and the more I started thinking about it, the more it started breaking down in my head, going, no, this isn't right. I'm gonna have to think about this for a while. Said it about Independence Day, but this wasn't much better. Better than The Force Awakens? No. I walked out of The Force Awakens somewhat satisfied and looking forward to the next one. Now I dread the next one, because where it leaves off, I'm like, where are you gonna take it from this? You're gonna take it into a realm that I'm probably not gonna like, because it's not familiar. It's not Star Wars anymore. Yes, I know it's about the, I'm tying back into the big three, Fisher, Hamill, Ford. Yeah, I'm tying back into them, but you could have done so much different things. Holdo shouldn't have flown that ship into the Star Destroyer at light speed. It should have been Leia. She should have made the ultimate sacrifice for the Resistance, and that would have lit a spark of a need of vengeance, and they would have started rising back up. They would have tried as hard as they could, and they would have had to fall back, but they would have tried to fight back. They wouldn't have kept running the whole movie. The whole movie, the Resistance is on the run. Leia sacrificing herself, they would have let's get down there and let's fight this fucking battle on this goddamn planet. And then that Rose character, the last minute pushing Finn out of the way of that laser, I was ready for him to die, because that would have been fucking powerful. I was ready for something powerful in this movie. The music was there and he was determined, and I'm like, Godspeed, Finn. The sad thing is that she said, it's not about destroying the things we hate, it's about saving the things we love. Well, wasn't that what he was kind of trying to do? Maybe he was making the ultimate sacrifice for the Resistance. I really do believe that they are just making this up as they go along. And that pisses me off. They should have had a fucking plan. Because it's obvious now, even Rian Johnson doesn't know who Rey's parents are. He doesn't know who Snoke is. They're just, oh well, do what you want with them. We'll make it up later in a book. I don't want to read a fucking book, okay? Each time I go watch it, you're getting about $20 of my money. Give me something. The movies are supposed to be the main driving points of the plot. I don't want to have to read it in a comic book, a Battlefront cinematic sequence. I don't want to have to learn everything through all these forms of media. It's become corporatized. It's become monetized and dispensed out through many different forms of media, and it makes me sick. It's not about the Force anymore. It's about the dollar. And I should have heeded the warning of Mark Hamill whenever he, in an interview, said he fundamentally disagrees with everything they did with his character. And I agree. There were three things in this movie that were convincing. Three characters that were convincing. Luke, Kylo, and Rey. Luke on his own, Kylo and Rey together. When Kylo and Rey are talking to each other, I was interested. I was invested. I was like, yeah, give me more of that. And when Luke was on screen, I was like, yes, give me more of that. When anyone else was on screen, I'm like, you're not really matching the vibe here. And Luke at the end, what a disappointing end to a legendary character. He needed to have that battle. Thoroughly disappointed by this movie because it didn't answer anything. It was basically just a hot potato type of movie. It's that JJ threw Ryan a hot potato and he grabbed it, put his fingerprints on it, and threw it right back. Rey's parents are nobody. Snoke, nobody. There's so many thoughts I have, and I can't condense them down in one video, but just suffice it to say, I was thoroughly disappointed in the movie. I wouldn't recommend you go see it in the theater. Just wait till it comes out on Blu-ray. This movie broke my heart. And like almost a battered wife, I was like forgiving of it. I kept saying, no, it's good, it's Star Wars, it's good. And I still do love Star Wars. I still love the franchise. It's just this movie has kind of ruined any hopes I had about the future of this trilogy and of the, not just the saga, but the universe in general. It needs to be put back in hands that don't just care about it, but care about where the story goes and where it comes from. Now, some fans are like, they don't want it to be familiar. They don't want it to always be the same. They want it to be different. But I think in the Skywalker saga, you have to keep it focused. But maybe we're all going to be wowed by episode 9, and God almighty, JJ, you've got a big job ahead of you. I do not envy you. You're probably the most unenvied director in Hollywood right now, because you've got a big mess on your hands to wrap up and clean up and make it look good. God help you. Disney needs to keep its hands off of this. We'll see. This isn't Star Wars. This is something different. Maybe that's the way they want to go, but I don't agree with it. I am not too envious of Rian Johnson. He's got some hate coming his way. So, in the meantime, I say cheers to you, good night, and may the Force be with you.